UU of Catskills. We are a very welcoming congregation. We welcome members, friends, and guests. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your life's journeys, you're welcome here with us. Unitarian Universalism is a liberal religious faith that carries no creed and welcomes all seekers. We are guided by 7 principles and 6 sources that encompass the many ways that we come to know and understand the world and the universe and the divine. If you are a visitor and would like to be added to our mailing list, please put your contact information, your email, in the chat room on Zoom. Our values here at UU Catskills are very important to us, and we live them on a daily basis. We affirm Black Lives Matter. We welcome the LGBTQ community. We are an affiliate of the Ulster Immigrant Defense Network, and we are an active voice in the effort to address climate change. And climate change was absolutely evident this last week when Hurricane Ida came through. Death and destruction followed in Louisiana, and the remnants roared up the East Coast from the Gulf Coast. Let's remember this morning those 60 souls that lost their lives nationwide and their families, and the 13 who died in New York City. In troubled times such as these, we can find support and friendship in our community circles here at UU Catskills. There are 9 circles in different areas, and they meet monthly in person or on Zoom. So if you haven't been to their meetings, check them out. If you would like to contact someone at UU Catskills, our new minister, the board, our president, our caring team, our office administration, you can, I have an email list, and also on Zoom, it should be up on the screen for those of you at home. In our September newsletter, which came out this past Tuesday, it's full of our calendar of events coming up, and there are several services that I want to just mention to you that's coming up this month. Next week, Vicki O'Dowdery is in charge. She's on the worship committee, and she will present a service about blessings by anyone as a way of life that can affect the whole world. We are excited about this service because it's the first one that is based on the Soul Matters material that is made available to us through UUA. So be sure and give us feedback after next week. On the 19th, we will also again try to have an outdoor service followed by a picnic. Our minister will lead a water communion, so please plan to bring water that's special to you in some way. If it rains, then we will be in the sanctuary just like we are now. There are probably about 20 of us total. Details are in the newsletter if you want to know how to get on the registration or the registered list. On the 26th of this month, we will hear from our fellow members for a service on how they came to join UU. And Jenny Giddy of the worship committee planned and will lead this service. Coming this week, on Thursday, we have bedtime stories at 7 o'clock. And now I'm going to turn it over to our president, Mark Howenstein. He has an announcement about an upcoming survey.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
It's really great to see all of you. I know we hoped to meet in slightly different circumstances, but it is what it is, and it's one more example of all the hoops that we are going to have to jump through probably, both with COVID and of course with the weather changes that lie ahead. So today we're celebrating a new way of being together after our closure of over a year, a time of rebirth after the dormancy of our COVID winter. But like every spring in the Catskills, winter and weather still threaten us with their unpleasant and unexpected surprises, like this morning. And for these, we must be prepared. Thus, the board is preparing a policy for reopening under a variety of conditions based on COVID levels and trends, on comfort levels within our congregation, and on the weather itself. To do so, we're conducting a survey seeking input from all of you. The link for this survey will be sent to all UUCC members via email and will be available on the uucatskills.org website as well. Look for it in the next couple days. Completing the survey should take no more than 10 minutes of your time, so it's nice and quick. And your timely response within the week will help us, the board, to make the most informed and responsible decisions regarding reopening for in-person services and events. Thank you in advance for your participation.
Thank you, Mark. After the service today, we may have a little social time. If it's not raining, you're invited on your way out. At the back door, we'll have coffee for you and hot water for tea. Thanks to Lois Slade, who came up with that idea and made everything ready. So if it's not pouring down rain, well, even if it is, you can gather under that little awning out there. For those of you at home, you can stay also for virtual coffee, and you'll be placed into breakout rooms. There is a children's chapel today, RE, here at this location in our farmhouse. So they will not be online in the breakout rooms. So let's gather together this morning and create a sacred space, a special place where all of us can be together. Our prelude is going to be played by Catherine Catabiani, our music director, and it's Prelude Opus 28, number 13 by Frédéric Chopin.
New piano, sorry.
So, go back in between. For those of you at home, we're going to light our chalice if you'd like to join us. And we'll say our words together. We light this chalice in grateful, loving community, even in the darkest of times. May its flame light pass to courage, justice, and hope. And now we'll say our affirmation together. May we be reminded here of our highest aspirations and inspired to bring our gifts of love to all living beings. May we know once again that we are not isolated, but connected in wonder and joy to mystery and miracle in this community and in each other. All right, Mark will now introduce our new minister.
Good morning again, and I did neglect to thank everyone, including Pat, but also all the worship associates and the tech people who helped to put this together. This is our first trial at a hybrid, and let's hope it goes well, but we will learn as we go along. But thank you, everyone. Really, I know how much effort that took. Today we celebrate the arrival of our new minister, Reverend Bob Janis-Dillon. Reverend Bob is a seasoned minister, having served several congregations in New Jersey and in England, as well as the English equivalent of the UUA over the past 15 years. He has significant worship, pastoral, and transitional experience and skills that should help us with the critical transitions that lie ahead for our congregation. There is a time-tested saying that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. This has happened to me several times throughout my life, and so long as I remained open to what was given to me, I flourished and matured. This is true for congregations too. When the congregation is ready, the minister will appear. This seems particularly true given the way that Reverend Bob has come to us. Following the sudden resignation of Reverend Leonisa, our scramble to enter into the ministerial search under very constrained conditions, and Reverend Bob's crossing of the great pond to be with us today. Are these the makings of a myth? Well, I will not place that expectation on Reverend Bob. Although I will say that if we stand ready, if we remain open to what is given to us by converting our obstacles into opportunities, we will be able to finally forge ahead fully into our future. With Reverend Bob's guidance, may this be so. Welcome, Reverend Bob, to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Catskills.
Thank you very much, Mark, for that wonderful introduction, and I hope I live up to it. I'm sure we will learn from each other and minister to each other and be together in wonder and joy. So it's really good to be with you on this rainy morning, and I know many are in many different places, so it's good to be together virtually and in person this morning. So let's. Well, here we are. Here we are. The earth beneath our feet, the sky above filled with rain this morning, showers of promise, and here we are, gathered together on this fine, rain-filled Sunday morning In our homes, in various parts of the Catskill Mountains and the intervening valleys, on the banks of the Hudson River, from all over Ulster County and far beyond, taking part from anywhere in the world this morning. Here in this building, we share with one another and with the world, and in our homes too, taking part from so many different locations, with so many different moods and life experiences, but with one spirit. We are together here in this day, together in this hour of contemplation and renewal, together in this life of many hearts. Hearts bearing expectation, frustration, hope and joy, sorrow and slow growth, suffering and wonder. We are together as human beings on this spinning blue-green ball, working its way through the cosmos. Together even in the isolation of individual consciousness, alone together, each one of us unique, each a secret to the other, everyone learning one another's charms and gifts and wounds and blessings in an ongoing, interpersonal, intergenerational cycle of wondrous revelation. Here we are. Here we are on this morning, facing the day that is to come, together as a people of many tongues and many ideas and inspirations. Juntos como la gente de fortaleza y esperanza. We are together in this hour. Welcome to this gathering. Welcome to this particular local, virtual, impermanent, happenstance togetherness that we find ourselves in. Welcome to this hour we share on this earth that shares us. And welcome to our siblings, the dogs and cats and bugs and bees and trees and grasses and plants. We are honored to share this time and this earth with our family of all beings. Now, let us begin. Again, let us begin as we do with each new breath. Begin again to live aware of the gift of this moment. For now is the sacred hour. Every moment we feel the earth and our breath and the presence of our neighbor is a moment of precious awareness. Cada instancia de conocimiento y incertidumbre es el momento sagrado. So now, dear earth, dear heart, dear one another, dearest mystery of our lives, now let us breathe in and breathe out and begin again. Begin again this moment to be together in wonder and gratitude. So now we will hear our first song, and I know that singing and music is really important to this congregation. We're adamant about keeping one another as safe as we possibly can, and we know these are difficult and uncertain times. So we're going to sing in our hearts and let Ella and Catherine sing out loud for us. Thank you so much for providing the singing. Those of you joining at home, we encourage to sing loudly on our behalf. We can't hear you, but it would lighten our hearts to know that you're singing loudly and boisterously. So let us sing our first song, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place.
When our heart is in a holy place.
So, as our tradition here at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Catskills, and I'm still learning the traditions, is to introduce the story with a wonder box. And I wonder where our wonder box is. Oh, this is an interesting morning. Well, I think it's actually, I was going to say, would anyone like to open the wonder box? But I'm sorry, Mark. I'm sorry, Pat. We already had a volunteer. So I'm going to ask Amel to open our wonder box, which is next door with our children in the restless room. So if you bear with me for one moment. Are we all wondering what's in our wonder box? Yes. So what was in our wonder box this morning? A dragon. Wow. And is this scary? Yeah. Thank you, Maddie and Amel. Thank you for opening. Can I show them really quickly and then I'll give this back? Or no, I'll tell them about it. I'll tell them it was really frightening because you said it was. Well, they opened the wonder box and Maddie and Amel told me that it was a dragon. And I asked them if it was really frightening, and they said yes. So be glad you haven't seen it, because it's super frightening. But there was a dragon, and after the service, if you're feeling really brave, you can look at it. It was a green dragon. And the story is called The Maybe Monster. Now, I wonder why it's called The Maybe Monster. Well, I guess we'll find out. And it's a story about a girl called Felicia. And Felicia is 8 years old. What can I tell you about Felicia? Well, she's in a big family. She's got 3 brothers, 1 sister, 8 parakeets, 6 goldfish, 2 cats, and no dogs. Felicia always mentions the no dogs because she'd really like to have a dog in her family. She's in a big family, and she goes to school, and she enjoys school most of the time. She likes things that a lot of people like. She likes video games and building and various things. But she's had a bit of a hard year, and maybe some of you might feel that too. It's been a hard year. It started last year on her 7th birthday. She was all excited for her birthday. She had spent all year thinking about it, thinking about who she would invite from her school, all the different people. She was thinking about the little party bags to give to everybody. And she was going to go to Mike the Mozzarella Mouse, which some of you may know. It's a little place that has like video games and pizza. And she was all excited to go to Mike the Mozzarella Mouse for her birthday. But then, this thing that's been happening, coronavirus, came up. And at first, she said, can I still have my birthday? Mom said, of course, yeah, sure. But then things changed. And she said, can I have my birthday at Mike the Mozzarella Mouse? And her mom said, I don't know, maybe. We'll have to see, maybe. And then it turned out, next week, she said, I don't know, Felicia, maybe not. And it ended up that she didn't have her birthday then. Now, Felicia still had a birthday, and she had chocolate cake, which was her favorite flavor cake, and her brothers and sister were there, and it was good, but it still wasn't Mike the Mozzarella Mouse, and it wasn't the same. And the whole year was kind of like that. She said, could I go to the beach? And Mother said, maybe it'll rain. Sometimes it rains around here. I don't know if you know that. and then she said, can we go to the lighthouse? I said, I don't know, maybe. Extra credit to adults if you get all the literary references. You get a gift certificate to Mike the Mozzarella Mouse. And she said, is Uncle Odie going to come visit us, her favorite uncle? And her mom said, I don't know, maybe not this summer. I don't know. And the whole year went like this. Now, grown-ups may not know this, but a year is a really, 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 really long time. A long time of all these maybes. I don't know if we can do that. I don't know if we can do this. School, I don't know if school is going to be at home this week or so on. And so when Felicia's 8th birthday came around a year later, she said, I want to go to Mike the Mozzarella Mouse. And her mother said, oh yeah, maybe you can. And at the word maybe, Felicia broke down into tears. She broke down into her tears. And her mother said, what's wrong? What's wrong, Felicia? What's up? Felicia said, well, it's the maybe monster. Her mother said, what do you mean the maybe monster? And her mom said, the maybe monster comes along and chomps up all of my plans. Every time I'm thinking something, I want to have something fun to do, and you say maybe. And then you say maybe not, and then we don't do it. And I'm tired of the maybe monster. And her mother didn't really know what to say to that. She said, oh, well, what's this monster like? Is it scary? And Felicia said, I guess, I don't know, but it's more annoying. I'm tired of this maybe monster. And the mom said, yeah, I know that feeling. And later, she came back with a monster. It's actually very similar to the monster I brought in. It took me forever to find it all week, the same monster that was given to Felicia. And she gave her that monster, and Felicia said, what's this? And her mom said, this is a maybe monster. And I know life can get hard sometimes, and it's hard when you have plans, like you want to go to Mike the Mozzarella Mouse, and it doesn't happen. But I want you to keep this monster and know that the monster is hoping that things will work out and hoping that things will happen. And if they don't happen, because sometimes you don't get to go to Mike the Mozzarella Mouse, the monster is maybe the monster is sad with you, and then you can be sad together. And I want you to know, Felicia, that maybes aren't always a terrible thing. Because I want you to know that no matter what, we'll think of different maybes to have for your birthday. And whatever we do on your birthday, we'll do something exciting and fun, and we'll figure out exactly what you want to do and try and do as much of that. Is that okay? And Felicia said, yeah. And she said, that sounds great. And she said, and who knows, maybe we'll get that dog. And Felicia said, really? So that's the story. And I won't say she lived happily ever after, because maybe not happy ever after, but she was happy very, very often, many, many times. And I want the children to know, as they're heading off to the farmhouse to be with Miss Jane, that there are maybes in this life, but there are also things we know for sure. And one thing you should know for sure is that we love you very, very, very much, no matter what happens. That is certain. And all the other maybes are less important in some ways than that we know for sure. So thank you for listening to our story, and you'll go to the farmhouse now. Well, the grown-ups will be stuck with me for the rest of the hour. It's good to be together, even with technology helping us do so in a safe way. So good to be together. So, we now have a couple of readings that will be read by Vicky O'Doherty, who is leading the service next week and is on the worship committee, so thank you very much. The two readings, I'll just say, first is a poem by Adrian Rich. I love poetry. I know sometimes it's hard. I've had the chance to read it a few times, and it's hard to hear, but it's based on a Matisse painting. And it's a painting of a tablecloth with some beautiful fruit on there, and there's a palm tree in the background. So Adrian Rich is feeling a little bit, I think the poet is feeling kind of wistful. So it's about kind of, we all might feel that sometimes, about feeling like, when are the happy times going to come and be here? So I know you're not supposed to say what a poem's about, but just because you're hearing it once. And then the second reading is from the Gospel of Luke, and we'll say more about that later. But thank you, Vicky, for reading.
The poem is Travailler et Joyer by Adrian Rich. Outside the shutters, a gigantic palm crazes the crazy blue of a perpetually remolded calm. Inside, someone is happy. Flowers grow larger than life upon a tablecloth whose creases hold the sun. To look at pictures long is to grow sad. A wintry hunger mopes beyond that table eloquently spread. We strain like urchins at the Gaudian ropes. Our longing cannot break, yet never quite declare it all a fake. What once was possible might happen here. Is that it then? We still might waken to a day absurdly clear and know some unaccustomed ease or skill. Even now at our age, might flick our pebbles on a glorious page. And all these objects of our envious thought, what gave them presence? How was the mirage of fruit piled without fault? The palm tree taught to laze against the blue? Your hand tightens like mine. aching to match them. Envy is the sign. I'd like to crack this safe, this cachet of joy, cramming my head with light, dismembering every fraction like a toy, then start head on and sure of being right, to make it all come true. This time, my way and new. Book of Luke, chapter 4, verses 14 through 21. Jesus returned to Galilee in the power of the Spirit, and news about him spread through the whole countryside. He was teaching in their synagogues, and everyone praised him. He went to Nazareth, where he had been brought up, and on the Sabbath day he went into the synagogue as was his custom. He stood up to read, and the scroll of the prophet Isaiah was handed to him. Unrolling it, he found the place where it is written, "The Spirit of the Lord is on me, because he has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim freedom for the prisoners and recovery of sight for the blind, to set the oppressed free, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor." Then he rolled up the scroll, gave it back to the attendant, and sat down. The eyes of everyone in the synagogue were fastened on him. He began by saying to them, "Today this scripture is fulfilled in your hearing."
We enter now into a time of reflection, a time of deepening, meditation, prayer. You can close your eyes if you wish, you don't have to. You might notice the world around you as you breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and out. As you notice your breath, it may deepen slightly. Allow yourself to access whatever peace is available to you in this moment. There may be cares that trouble you, anxieties, physical pains in your body, discomforts, and take note of them and then just gently return again to your breath. Be where you are right now, breathing in and breathing out. I'll say a spoken prayer now, and we'll have a little brief time of silence followed by a little refrain of music. I invite us into reflection and prayer. Spirit of life and love, known by many names and none, subject and object of our heart's longing. We are grateful today to be here on this earth. We know it could be otherwise. Amidst all the cares and anxieties of our complicated lives, we feel the assurance of simply being an organism, a part of this earth, breathing, eating, drinking, and sleeping, loving and caring and connecting. A body that wants to participate in the grand adventure of our shared life. We gather this hour in celebration. A celebration aware that life contains suffering and grief, and not turning our faces away from those realities, but incorporating them in our gratitude. We keep in our hearts, especially today, Linda Mason Leblanc, who died this past week. Linda was beloved here at UUCC by many. She was involved for many years. We send our love out to her son, Mark, daughter-in-law and grandchildren, and all her dear friends here and elsewhere as they grieve this loss. And collectively, we remember Linda with fierce fondness and gentle blessing. We keep in our prayers and best wishes all affected by Hurricane Ida, the homes damaged or ruined, the families misplaced, especially the poor with nowhere else to go. And most of all, we keep in our hearts the families mourning loved ones gone too soon. Our hearts cry out, knowing our actions of defacing this planet are making these natural disasters more and more common and more dangerous. Teach us, Spirit of the waters, Spirit of all life, how to live humbly on this earth. We keep in our hearts the people of Haiti, our sister across the waters, who have been dealing with so much over the past few months. And we resolve not to turn our awareness away from Haiti's suffering or Haiti's beauty. And we join the world in prayers for Afghanistan, for all those there who are threatened, harmed, or suffering terribly. Keeping in our determined compassion the oppressed, religious minorities, and women. We think too of all the soldiers, American, Afghani, and so many other countries who have been injured or killed, who have borne so much suffering over 20 years of war. And while we all try to make sense of such an enormous enterprise of these last 20 years, let us at least be reminded that there is never an easy path to peace through war, never an end of suffering through violence. We pray then for peace in our own hearts and across the world. Our hearts go out to the women and families in Texas who have been abandoned by their government, as this new ruling threatens to make women subject to the whims of any individual who seeks to take the law into their own hands. We pray that women and all people be given the right to their own body and their own freedom and not be denied these natural rights. O sacred oneness, we are tired. We have been through a lot, together and alone. Our whole world seems to ache with the troubles of disease and oppression, dying, war, destruction. In this little corner of New York State, we have a little good news today, the start of the new congregational year here at UUCC, and a new ministry together. It's not much, we know, in the grand scheme of things, not with COVID raging and everything else, and yet, life between all the turmoil is a tapestry of small blessings, and this is one. As we consider the possibilities of our time together as a congregation, we may not know how to give sight to the blind or set free the oppressed, but we are capable of changing ourselves and changing the world in ways beyond our own expectations. As the poet writes, what once was possible may happen here. May we be stewards of the possible, beholders of joy, makers of new truth, kinder truths, discoverers and rediscoverers of a better way of being on this earth as human beings. In our attempts toward beloved community, imperfect though they are, may we find growing within us courage to change the world for the better, compassion to truly see each other as beautiful and good, wisdom to hear clearly amidst the din of human strife the call to justice and kindness, and gratitude to muster up a thank you within us for the great celebrations and the everyday joys. May we be a people of grateful heart, and may we share of what we have with the world. Now we'll have a little time of quiet to attend to our personal reflections, listen to the sounds around us as well as the stirrings of our heart, followed by some music.
For our offering this month, our half plate goes to the Center of Creative Education in Kingston. Their mission is to enrich the social and cultural awareness of our youth and community through arts, wellness, and education. For those at home, you see on your screen the 3 basic ways we give to our plate each week. There's a text, number to text. There is also, you can go to our website, uucatskills.org, and you can also mail in a donation. Now here, for the first time in over a year, we get to pass our plates. And so Ellen Harrington and Joyce White are going to do that while Catherine plays Prelude Opus 28, number 3.
Thank you for your donations, and I'm thrilled that this congregation is sharing with the Ulster Immigrant Defense Network. As someone who's been an immigrant myself, and I was blessed to have contacts and resources and a little bit of funding, and it was still really, really hard. I know how hard it is. So to create possibilities for people who probably don't have much choice but to follow the spirit over here and continue our American traditions of immigration, which has been challenging throughout the centuries. I'm grateful. I'm so glad that we're a part of this organization. So it's so good to be with you. I want to say again how delighted I am, and thank you for the welcome. Whether you're tuning in from home or the few here at in the building, or even if you're watching this through the miracle of technology, watching this days or months or years from now, we're all together in a strange and mysterious way, and it's good to share it with you, to be together with you. As you heard, this is my first Sunday on the job as your minister here, or I should say our first Sunday together. For here begins our ministry together, all of us, as we try to help further the aims of diversity, community, growth, and action. Ministry is never about one person. It shouldn't be anyway. It's about what we do together in relationship out in the world. And the world is really a place of relationship. It's a place where we relate to one another. Speaking of which, can people hear me okay? It's not much of a relationship. Can't hear if I'm just talking to myself. So today marks the formal beginning of our ministry together, our shared service to the world. And we mark this occasion because there is something special, something important about beginnings. Beginnings are a time of hope and possibility. Now, as it happens tomorrow, as you probably know, is Labor Day and the start of the school year for many of us and many children as well. And it's also the day after begins, or the evening begins, Rosh Hashanah, which is the Jewish New Year. And often in the Jewish New Year, Jewish homes will feature apples dipped in honey, a traditional Rosh Hashanah treat. And the idea being that beginnings are meant to be a little bit sweet. Might as well start the time off with a little bit of sweetness, an apple dipped in honey, to get across the idea viscerally with our taste buds, the idea that something good may be beginning here. And we all need that sense, don't we? The sense that something good is happening. There is a new beginning. Of course, this year we can't share apples and honey very easily because of COVID concerns. So the range of possibilities is constricted in 2021 just as it was in 2020. And we're all tired of it, I know. We're all frustrated and tired and worn out. Like Felicia in today's story, we've all had a visit from the maybe monster. We've all had plans changed, sometimes at the last minute. We've all had to decide, make these difficult decisions. What's the safety risk here? Are we okay doing this? How do we manage this? It's hard to embrace new beginnings when we're in a place of such anxiety and uncertainty. Hard to turn the page and start a new year when the age of COVID seems to go on and on and on. Now, a little autobiographical note. I'm not going to say too much about me, but I'll say a little in the sermon. My birth name is actually Robert Janus, and Janus is the Roman god of possibilities. And possibility is our Soul Matters congregational theme for September, the theme we'll be exploring. So I thought I'd bring Janus in here. And I don't know if you've seen a picture. I don't have a picture with me, unfortunately. But he's normally depicted as a two-faced god. That doesn't mean two-faced like we hear two-faced. But one face looking forward and one face looking backwards. Janus is looking at the future and at the past. Janus is also known as the god of doors. When you go through a doorway, you're going from one room, stepping from one room to another room. So it makes sense that Janus is the god of doors. And I've always liked that my family names comes from the god of possibilities. Possibility, indeed, always seemed like a magical word to me. Anything can happen. As you might expect, as someone who's spent 6 years living in England, I love to travel. I love waking up in a new place, thinking, what could happen today? The day is wide open. Anything could happen. Maybe I'll get a loaf of bread. Maybe I'll make a new friend. Maybe I'll join the circus. Anything could happen. Who knows? The day is open. And throughout my life, and maybe this is true for you as well, glorious possibilities have sort of come to life, and some of them have come to fruition. I met someone, and I told my brother while we were playing ping pong, I think she might be the one. And we got married. And in the most amazing, awe-inspiring, maybe, of my life, we brought 2 children into the world. Abe, who is now 12, and Ray, who's 9, and who are continually teaching me more and more about what it means to be a parent and what it means to be a human being and possibilities that I never imagined being a dad. Professionally, my life has been a series of explored possibilities. I took jobs, and I didn't know if they would work out or not. Could I be a newspaper reporter? Yeah, I could. I wasn't a great one, but I was okay, and it taught me how to write, which helped. Could I be a teacher? I was a substitute in middle school for a while. I learned that it was very hard, very difficult. Maybe I'll become a private investigator. Nope, I was terrible at that. Not every possibility works out. Maybe I'll become a minister. And I did become a minister after several years of seminary and clinical pastoral education and discernment and doubt and overcoming those doubts and training. I did become a minister. And over the 15 years of my career, I've taken on all sorts of different roles and responsibilities, served on various denominational committees, and at the congregations I've served, we tried out various things, tried out various possibilities. Some of them worked spectacularly well. Some of them, we didn't get as many people as we expected. It didn't work out, but we learned something along the way. And we had fun exploring the possibilities, which I think is what congregational life is about. So I've come to see possibility as very much a friend in this life. So much you could do in a day, right? Take up chess, go scuba diving if we can afford it, learn how to knit, fast, go without food for a day and see how it affects me. So many possibilities in this life. But as Felicia in the story knows, possibility can be a rough word too. A lot of people had an exceedingly rough 18 months. I've been one of them, actually. After 5 years as ministry in Merseyside, I ended that ministry, and it was the time to end it. I knew it was a good time. We ended on very, very good terms. I love them dearly, and I hope the feeling's mutual, but it's still hard to say goodbye, and it was hard saying goodbye to that congregation. My grandmother died, not of COVID, and 96 years old after a good long life, but there was still grief there, and grief at not being able to see her, and I know many share versions of that grief. Several congregants died, and a couple with COVID, so that lays heavy on my heart. And after 15 years of ministry, you would think I would be used to death by now, but somehow you never quite get used to it, do you? And on a personal level, the most difficult possibility happened to me this year, which has been that of separation. My wife and I ended our relationship and are in the process of divorce. COVID probably wasn't the main cause of our breakup, but it certainly didn't help. This is all incredibly hard and painful, of course, and for our children, and we're all doing our best. We love the children very, very much, and the children know we both love them very, very much, and I found that helps quite a lot through the maybes, that security of knowing how much we love each other. But it is very difficult. And I raise that not to say woe is me, but just to acknowledge that it's been difficult for so many. Adrian Rich, the poet we heard earlier, looks at a painting of a table spread for a nice meal, a sort of idyllic painting, with a palm tree in the window, and she wistfully reflects on a happier time. To look at pictures long is to grow sad. A wintry hunger mopes beyond that table eloquently spread. A wintry hunger. She wants it to be summer again, for life to feel glorious again. And she knows in her head that it's a possibility. The seasons turn, after all. Why can't it be summer? Can we return to maybe not even normalcy, maybe something better than normalcy? We still might wake into a day absurdly clear. We still might flick pebbles on the plage, be on the beach again. We might be happy again. And maybe you're happy right now, and if so, embrace it. The world needs more people who are happy right now. Share that with the world. And the poet writes, I'd like to crack this safe, this cache of joy, cramming my head with light, just bringing all this light, this joy into ourselves, into our life. It's so wonderful to be alive. Isn't that what we want to appreciate this day? I mean, what's better than this, right? Being alive on a Sunday morning and enjoying this day. And yet, sometimes it's hard, right? Sometimes it's difficult to crack this safe, unlock this cache of joy. So, Jesus, and stay with me here. Jesus, in the other reading, in the story, whether it really happened, who knows, but in the story that we heard, Jesus walks into the temple, the synagogue, and he begins his ministry. This is in the book of Luke, one version of his story. He begins his ministry by quoting from the Jewish scriptures, the book of Isaiah. And he paraphrases, actually. As an aside, I find it really interesting that in most of the Gospels, whenever Jesus quotes the Bible, he doesn't quote it word for word, which makes me think that Jesus probably isn't a biblical literalist. Go figure. But anyway, in the book of Luke, we have this prophet, this Jesus, this character, this historical figure, whatever. Jesus beginning his ministry by quoting from the Jewish scriptures in the Jewish synagogue, and saying, God has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor, to proclaim freedom to the prisoners, sight to the blind, and free all the oppressed. And Jesus dramatically, at the end of that, rolls up the scroll and says, today the scripture is fulfilled in your hearing. Now that's some chutzpah, right? Now what on earth did Jesus mean by this? I don't know. In the Bible, there are a lot of miracles. Jesus does rub things on people's eyes to help their visual impairment. He helps people walk who haven't walked in years. He even raises the dead. And I know many of us Unitarian Universalists are a little bit skeptical about the miracles in the Bible. We have no way of knowing if they ever happened. And I've never seen those things happen, and it's easy enough to write a story, right? So, sure, we can be skeptical, and I'm skeptical too. Nevertheless, these words have stayed with me over the years. They speak to me as much today as they ever have. There's a kind of beautiful boldness to them, don't you think? After all, isn't this what we should be doing? Setting the oppressed free as Unitarian Universalists? Bringing freedom to those who are imprisoned, and I know we have a tradition about that here at Ulster County. Whether it's the prisons of the mind, emotional prisons of all the ways we get trapped, of those who are literally behind bars, shouldn't we be helping one another to see, metaphorically I mean, to see and hear and touch and taste the world for the glorious reality that it really is? I'm not Jesus. I don't know how to perform a miracle. I can't even cure COVID or stop the rain. And yet I'm glad that Jesus didn't start Zir's ministry by saying, well, the troubles we face are terribly complicated and intersectional, and I guess there's nothing you can do. Because when you get down to it, our congregation is here, I'm assuming, to change the world. Right? Isn't that why we show up? Because together we can change the world a little bit. I know we're all a bit skeptical sometimes. I know it's been hard. But I'm telling you, I saw a sign just this past week in Danbury. I just moved to Danbury, and I was walking around enjoying my new surroundings, my new city, when there, on a patch of grass in front of a house, was this sign. It said, "Free stuff, take some." And in front of that sign were some random items, kitchen bric-a-brac and some glasses and stuff. And I actually saw a casserole dish that I had my eye on, but I waited a couple days and somebody grabbed it. But that's not important. What's important is that I was reminded, just as everyone was reminded who passed by that little sign, that there is still goodness in this world. That kindness reigns in this world of ours. People are still willing to give stuff away. Generosity, compassion, thoughtfulness, they haven't gone anywhere. Free stuff. And I know you may be saying, "Bob, that's no miracle. Somebody leaves a few old kitchen dishes by the side of the road. That's no miracle. It happens every day." Sure. Okay. But here's the thing. I'm not asking you to believe in miracles. You can be as skeptical as you want about miracles. I'm not asking you to believe in miracles. I'm asking you to be the miracle. Somebody's got to be that somebody to put out that sign that says free stuff. What's your sign that you're bringing out today? What are you putting out there? Somebody's got to proclaim liberty to captives, because heaven knows they need somebody to say that. Somebody's got to tell the oppressed something other than oppression. Give them another message. Somebody's got to say, "You know what? This year is going to be a good year. Today's going to be a good day, and I'm going to make it so." And I think it needs to be you. I think it needs to be us to be the miracle together. I invite you to notice your surroundings, look around you in your homes and in this congregation, and search your heart. I know it's been a rough time, even if I don't know what you particularly have gone through. But do you not believe in your heart of hearts that more kindness, more justice, more love, a way out of all the prisons of the Spirit, a better day on this earth, don't you feel that these things really are possible? This is the place, this place of possibility. This is the place in this gathered community, gathered in so many ways, where we throw off the shackles of cynicism and believe. Believe in justice. Believe in a better day coming soon, today, maybe. Believe in the miracle that we make happen day by day. Free stuff. Let's start giving it away. Let's get started today in love. May it be so. Hallelujah. So now we'll sing one of my favorite songs. We'll sing in our hearts. We're doing what's possible, and then we're expanding on the possible. I invite you to hear this song and really let it resonate within your bones. Thank you, Ella and Catherine, for leading us. Love will guide us.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give love deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace will guide us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
In the midst of all these possibilities of our lives, all the uncertainties and anxieties and hope, take courage. None of us know what will happen today or any day, but the love that you feel in your heart will not let you go. It'll take on different forms. It'll flicker sometimes. It'll look differently from moment to moment. But that love embraces all the possibilities, takes in all the maybes, and guides us from day to day. So let us rest in that love. Let us embrace it, enjoy it, and share it with this world. Free stuff. Let us love one another as best we can. Be good stewards of this earth. Be gentle and kind. And never lose sight of the love in which we move. Amen. We extinguish this, let's say together our extinguishing words. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live.
That was just wonderful. You were
Beautiful singing, and I'm sorry I didn't thank you two.
Thank you.